Hello my dear freaks and readers, and welcome to another chapter of this story called I'm drawing my favorite German YouTubers as Vocaloid songs. Now don't worry, this video is in English, background music is in the description in order of appearance like usual, and I can't speak today apparently. And please excuse my stupid German ass for making this so long and my fucking mumbling and pronunciation. Now go and enjoy this fucking disaster. The first in line is Kegy with this song, The Real Disappearance of Hatsune Miku, or fake The End of Hatsune Miku. Now, I chose this song because he had another channel before Kegy, which was Der Kegy, aka The Kegy in English, and he basically abandoned that channel and switched to Kegy, just Kegy, not Der Kegy. Der Kegy is trash, as we established, thanks to him. And my reasoning for using this song is, first, I don't like the original song, The Disappearance of Hatsune Miku. I really don't like it. In general, I just use songs that I like in all of these drawings, so don't be confused if I have something that in your opinion doesn't fit, so shut up. Anyway, I chose this song because the song has many interpretations, and one of them is that the singer GUMI, not Miku, GUMI is the replacement for Miku, and that's basically why I chose this one for Kegy, because yeah, Kegy was basically the replacement for their Kegy, so you know, it makes sense. I hope, at least. I always try to find some small resemblance with the songs that I chose, be it small, be it big, be it whatever. And if you have other suggestions for songs that would have fit better with these YouTubers, please tell me in the comments and I might just see. And just so you know, I did these drawings in their respective order. So of course I did him first, and I always tried when I drew these to mirror the original drawing that I chose for that as closely as possible, as you might see. Of course, he has a bit of a more girlish feature now, because again, he was the first one, so he is a bit different from the others. Well, okay, they're all pretty different. You're gonna see why. But yeah, also he has those kind of girlish features because of his long girlish hair, and some people apparently confused him to be a woman. So yeah, I'm not sure if I regret drawing him more feminine, and yeah, I think in general it turned out pretty good. I mean, all of them, well, except for the second one maybe. I'm not sure if I would. Okay, but then again, all of them are pretty good. Just forget what I said. So Kegy was probably one, or not even, I don't know, he might have been the easiest, or maybe one of the easier ones. I don't know if the last, or he was the easiest. But the reason for that is, for one, the pose was pretty simple, and I didn't have to draw that much really. Really was really a simple pose. And the second reason was his eyes. Now, the original character in the drawing has closed eyes, which is, yeah, pretty easy to draw, okay? And when I'm drawing eyes, I usually try to copy the eyes as close to reality as possible. You will see that especially with the second one, because there I struggled like a bitch. And yeah, Also, as you might see, I tried to add as many, or let's just say, Jesus, I changed certain things up to match the character more, such as the little cross that the original character had on the sleeve is now his cat hat that he has as his logo. So, yeah. And you will see, again, this is one of the things I try to do with all of the characters to, make it closer to the YouTuber. Okay? For coloring and shading, especially for coloring, I at first just copied the colors from the picture, but in the end you'll see that I changed basically sorry, the colors, all of them, I don't know, except for the white, of course, in the black, but I changed them to match the character, the YouTuber, more because of the second drawing, where I also started using colors corresponding to the YouTuber I was drawing. Now again, shading, here I used some basic, I think it was shell shading? What was it called that? I should have looked that up, sorry. But yeah, I just used the basic shading, because usually I use blend shading, but the original picture also had the basic shell shading, and that's why I just used that. And I think I already mentioned that I doing similar things when it comes to shading and coloring with the other pictures that I drew. Now for the TV in the background, I just I don't really have much to say except for that I quickly drew that on there, and I also used a picture online. I think I'm gonna, or not, I don't know if I need to link it down below or not. If I do, it's gonna be down there, and if not, it's not, because it's just a picture googled, so I don't think I have to link it. And later on with the other drawings, I did that off camera. So yeah, this is gonna be one of the only situations where you see me do that on camera. So now his side is basically done, and for the other one with the black buffering Miku, I literally just used his cat hat that the cat hat was mostly associated with his old channel, so yeah, I used that to again resemble the buffering Miku, and then I just copied the buffering, the circle from Miku, placed it on there, boom, done, whatever. And yeah, the TV's in the background. Yeah, then I just used one of my downloaded free fonts that I had that I thought would fit the most with this, based on the original picture or whatever, and yeah, just kind of made it fit accordingly and placed my gamer tag. I'm calling it gamer tag even though it's just my watermark on there, and yeah, then you'll see the color switch I did at the end, and that's basically it, I think. And you might see the finished version here on screen again, and I think it turned out pretty good for the first one. Oh boy, those two. The stress is noticeable, I hope, because this one was pretty hard. So here we have the Space Frogs, aka Space Gaming, And for those two, I took the song Remote Control, or otherwise known as Remote Controller. Now, my reasoning for that is, for one, their gaming channel. They're pretty deep into the gaming scene, you could say. And the second one being, if you notice about the Rin and Len duets, well, you might notice that most of their songs are about two people, mostly two siblings, who are bickering, fighting, and that's basically what happens in every video from these two boys. And I thought this was pretty good. Also, on a little side note, Rick is more of the gamer of these two, you could say, and Steve is still watching TV. He said that at some point about Germany's Next Top Model or something. And in Remote Control, you have Len, who is using the TV remote, and Rin, who is on the game controller side. So yeah, I drew Steve as Len and Rick as Rin, and yeah, it was pretty hard, you could say. Especially because here you had, I had to draw the eyes of these two, and at first it was kind of complicated, and there also started what do you call it? The face shape. I tried mirroring that. I didn't do that with the first one that much, or not at all. I don't know. And yeah, again, the eyes. Yeah, it was kind of hard. Based on the screenshots I had, I could have used better shots of these two for drawing the eyes, but in the end it kind of worked out, because at some point I had the faces drawn, and then I was like, okay dude, no, stop, continue the next day. That's what I did, and then it got better. The second problem I had with this is this beautiful thing called foreshortening. For some of you that don't know what foreshortening is, it's pretty easy. Okay, no, actually no. But basically imagine you have an arm, and you have the palm of the hand in the foreground, and you can see the rest of the arm going towards the background, and it's basically the arm is shortening when it goes to the background. Basically a connection between background and foreground. I'll probably put a video when I explain this right now. And yeah, and I hate it, I'm bad at it, and the picture I chose had that, and oh boy, it's not easy, it's definitely not easy. Though, Steve's arm was rather done quickly, maybe because it was on the left side. Rick's arm, though, well, it was a bit of a different story. I had to redo that a lot, a few times, and till I got it down the way it best looked. Yeah, oh god. Yeah. Also, for Rick, you might have noticed that Rin doesn't have long pants, but instead she's wearing shorts. But I thought that he probably wouldn't like wearing that, so yeah, I gave him normal pants like Steve. another thing about this drawing that kind of bugs me, you could say, and I just realized I forgot something. I'll probably, I don't know if I'm gonna actually do that or not, or if I'm gonna leave it. Actually, I'm just gonna leave it. A thing that bothers me is the amount of detail in the clothing. Now, when you let's just refer to character design for this. When you have character designs, or you designing a character, and that's something I always tell people when they need some advice from me, because I'm good at giving advice apparently, or something, I don't know. What I always tell them is, when it comes to detail, don't put too much. And I think that's a problem that they did with this, as well as other things. That occurs often, that people, for Vocaloid songs or something, they use way too much detail. But okay, you could overlook it as just being a song or something. But when it comes to drawing, it's gonna be pretty complicated to draw all this detail, especially when you have to redraw it a couple of times. That's why you have to, when it comes to animation, you have to make it as simple as possible. Because when you have too much detail, it's way too easy to forget that. And that's one of the things that happened with this piece, is that I forgot a lot of things, or some parts of the drawing didn't make much sense, where it just, for example, Rick's hair, where I had to redraw it a bit on that one side you couldn't see, on the side of the chair. Yeah. And what I basically forgot was, what's the thing called? In the original drawing, you have these yellow lines on the outfit that resemble their Vocaloid outfits, and that's the thing I just called out that I forgot. But I think I'm just gonna leave it out of this one, because they don't really have stereotypical outfits. Now there's two different things that I did off camera, which are brushes, one for the zippers and one that is later gonna be in the background, which is a visualizer. And yeah, it was kind of tricky, but I got the hang of it. Now the coloring, you might as well again see that, of course, I mirrored the colors from the original picture, but there are some parts where I didn't use colors of the original picture, such as, okay, we got it, such as the bow that Steve has, and the ribbon from Rick, the lights on the headphones, and the pupils. Yeah, pupils. There, I just saw my mistake. I'm watching this while I'm recording this, so I know what to say, because this is not scripted. Yay! This is not good. And later you'll see that I recolored the bow and the ribbon, because I kind of had a color swap in my head, because I thought I was gonna do the colors for ribbon and bow as the Space Gaming colors, because they have the blue that is on the shirt they're wearing under there, something, and the orange that they have around it with the G on the logo. Can you even call it a logo? I don't know. Probably might as well put a picture of it there. Yeah, but I thought it was red, but that was a mistake, and later I changed it to orange. The red came from one of the other formats that they have on their main channel, Space Rocks. That is cooking, and for that they use the red. But other than that, I don't think I had any coloring mistakes. And the orange, afterwards, it fits better than the red in the end. Now for shading, I used my usual blend shading, though I at first had a bit of trouble because I was like, oh my god, how the fuck did I shade again? Because I totally forgot how I usually do it. I haven't been drawing that much lately. I probably should get back to it. But when I'm drawing, if you follow my Twitter, no, not Twitter, but also Twitter, there's also some art, I recently posted it, but no, well, okay, Twitter or Instagram, depending what you prefer. You might have seen that I had a few pictures that I drew, but they, most of them probably are the ones I made on my phone because of reasons. But yeah, other than that, I used my typical blend shading. At some point I got the hang of it. At first I thought I was gonna do the shell shading again, but then I was like, nah dude, nah, I'm gonna use my blend shading. And it also fits better probably because in the original picture they also have this kind of, I wouldn't say blend shading, but it kind of is. Or not, I don't know, it's weird blending. And don't even ask me about how the fuck I shaded this picture, cause I actually have no idea. Oh, and on a side note, you might have noticed that Rick is not smiling unlike Rin, who is. That is because it's not his style, so I was like, okay, no, don't, no, he wouldn't like that. So I just gave him his usual look, and Steve got his, well, the grin, like Len, because he's kind of that type. Yeah. I think the only things I gave some lighting are, or is the hair. And I gotta be honest, I'm not that good when it comes to hair lighting. And I probably need some bit of practice with that. But for now, I think it's okay, you can do that. But again, I probably need some practice. Or if you have some tips on how to do some better hair shading, no, I mean blending, no, wait, lighting, that's it, hair lighting, then tell me in the comments, I appreciate it. Now that I think about it, I'm not even sure if the colors, the thing on the top, at the neck, something like that, if those white colors are even correct, or if I made a mistake there. If it was a mistake, then I'm just like, meh, leave it be. Yeah, then I, as before, just used a free font I had downloaded already for the title, and what I didn't record is putting my gamer tag there, but I slapped that on afterwards. Because if I don't, somebody might steal it and think it's theirs. And yeah, that's basically it for the space rocks. And here you are going to see the final picture again or something. My dear freaks, readers, or whatever you may be, now I present to you the one, the only, my favorite idol. Not really, maybe, I don't know. Vic! Yay! And for him, I chose the song Hardbass Night. And you might know, if you're German and know him or watch him, you might have a slight idea why I chose that song. Because it's Russian. He's Russian. It's hardbass. It's just, oh my god. I can't. It's too great. I just when I looked at him and thought which song for him, I didn't even need a second, and I immediately came up with this song, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. Fuck it, I'm doing it. I have to. I had to. Sorry. There was just no other way I could choose a different song besides this one. And I love it. Now, for the German viewers who know Vic, you might know that before he had the Vic channel, he had his channel iBlali, and I've been there since then, and I was influenced the most by his old channel iBlali, and that's where I also got the idea for using hardbass night, because he had at least one, or he definitely had a few, where he was doing a typical Russian joke that, you know, like vodka and party and stuff. But also I figured out a bit of a better meaning for choosing the song. I looked into the lyrics a bit more, and I noticed something, which is it's a bit deep, and I think it fits good with his character. Now in the song, it's apparently, I think it's about people who are I think troubled, you could say, based on lines. It's sickening being alone. There's a translation, by the way. Yeah, and it's basically what I think it says is that there's these lonely people, and they go to the parties, or a party, not really sure. Yeah, there's a party for us, for these lonely people, and yeah, they go there to have a hardbass night. Ed, I'm not gonna try and pronounce that. I'm just gonna throw it on the screen. It's hard to say something, and you feel bored. Yeah, so basically, yeah, again, these lonely people who go to parties and try to feel less lonely, or in other words, depressed. And I know from watching him that he definitely had moments or a phase in his life where he was, you could say, more depressed. I'm not that sure, actually. I would need to go watch one of the videos where he talked a bit more about it. And yeah, he also had to go to a therapist and such, but that's kind of beside the point, I think. But yeah, I think that fits good, and he often went to parties, and if you could theorize that maybe his mental state was one of the reasons why he went to a lot of parties at some point, to get his problems maybe off his mind or something. I'm not trying to read too much into it, but you could interpret it that way. Jesus, I can't speak English today. I already had to record something in English today, so excuse me if I'm a bit rough today. And yeah, one of the worst parts about this one was his hands, but other than that, I had no problem. And you might be wondering, but what about the eyes and facial features? Well, I have an easy explanation for that. I already drew him a couple of times before, for at least a couple of times for a private project I'm working on. I'm not gonna tell anything about that. Ha 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 ha, suckers. And a meme contest he had, where I redrew a meme he never saw it because Twitter timeline is... Okay, no, it's not the timeline. It's Twitter's filtering viewing system. It's wacky, it's fucked up, it's confusing. When it comes to that, Twitter is like a bitch. I gotta say it. That's why he never saw it, even though it was good. Okay, no, it's okay. And for the people in the background, I literally just copied the people from the original picture as good as I can, or, well, okay, yeah, okay, as good as I can, because there's one point in this picture where I'm just like, what the fuck is that? Even though I currently think I know what it's supposed to be. Even showed it to my mom. She was just like, with a lot of imagination, maybe. Yeah. But you'll see what I did there. In the end, I drew them too big, actually, because later on I had a bit of trouble with the title of the song, the placing, because as you might have noticed already, I always try and put the title for the drawing on the picture where the title usually was, or not, depending on how the picture is built. Like Kegy's, I had to kind of squeeze it in the bottom. And yeah, when you look at the original picture I had for this, which is just the cover, I on the right side, yeah, on the right side there's this figure. I later on, after I drew what you're seeing hopefully right now, I realized that I didn't even know what the fuck that was. Then I realized it might have been a person drinking out of a beer bottle, or a bottle, actually, just a bottle. But yeah, as a stand-in, I just put myself in there because I had no idea how I was gonna draw whatever. Okay, no, actually, I think I did that before I knew what was actually in that corner. Or did I knew? I don't know. Amnesia is a bitch. Anyway, I just sneakily put myself into the picture. Wow! And on a funny side note, I drew my hair wrong again. Because I'm stupid. And it's also wrong on my current profile picture, at least on Twitter and Instagram. I don't have it yet as a YouTube picture. Maybe I'll put it in. I don't know. But it's wrong. I'll probably just redo it again. Now, when it comes to coloring, I used his, I think, favorite color. At some point he said purple was his favorite color, and I hope it's still that way. So yeah, I just used the same shade as the blues in the original and switched them to the purple. Now, shading wasn't really much, it was just the neck basically. And I just saw that I think I forgot to shade the nose. Like, I have that extra space beside the nose for to darken it for shade. But I think I'm just gonna leave it. It looks good the way it currently is. And don't even ask me about those lines on the clothing, because I don't really know what that is supposed to be. I just did it. Oh, and of course I wrote Vic on his shirt, the shirt he's wearing. And I made it long, because I doubt he would like to wear a crop top. So yeah. For the text, I again used a font I downloaded online, especially for this actually. and you can already see that I had a bit of size trouble. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to place it, or well, in other words, I seriously didn't know how to place it. And there I actually realized that the people in the background are for one, way too high and too big. But then I kind of I think I kind of fixed it pretty quickly. I didn't actually change the size or anything. I just slammed the black outline on there and made the text smaller, and so it was fitting better in the end. And here you're probably seeing the picture, finished picture again. And yeah, this was the last one. And of course, I think this is the best one, not just because it's him, but also because it's the last one. I drew him the most out of all these. I even drew Kegy at some point, like once in my life. But other than that, he is the only one I drew the most. Wow, this is horrible, just like everything I do. So I hope you liked it. Leave some ideas, recommendations, or even critique. I mean it. And I'll see you guys in the next chapter of this story or something. Bye bye!